And we're back. And I accidentally deleted the video, so I have to remake it. So, God allows suffering, but God also has the power to take something ugly, something horrible, something deadly, like sin and suffering, and turn it into something good and beautiful. And there's no greater example of this than the crucifix. God can take something as ugly as death and turn it into eternal life. So in our current pandemic, we're all suffering. The world is literally suffering. We're suffering because we might be sick, or we might be worried or scared that we're going to get sick, or that people we love are going to get sick. We might be fighting with our families constantly because we're all in one tiny little house. We might be missing those things that we were really looking forward to this part of the year, like Edge. We might miss our friends that we can't see, or our other family members that we can't see. And so in big or small ways, we are all suffering. So what good can come of this? What good can come of our suffering right now? Well, we do have some control over our suffering. So we can make it worse. We certainly can make our suffering worse. We can wallow in self-pity. We can mope around. We can complain about how terrible this is. We can do unhealthy things like binge eat or binge watch Netflix, or play video games all day, or be on social media constantly, like looking at what other people are or aren't doing, in their isolated times, and be like, oh, I wish I was doing that in my quarantine. And ultimately, that isn't going to make us feel any better. That's not going to help us alleviate our suffering or soften our suffering. No, ultimately, it's going to make it worse. We're going to feel worse, and nothing good will come out of it. So we have that option. Or we can work with God to turn our suffering into something good. So, for example, I'm so bored. I'm sure that none of you have spoken those words in these past couple weeks. So bored. So, being bored, I can do all the things I just mentioned. I can spend my entire day, on Instagram, or I can spend my entire day watching Netflix or playing video games, or etc. I can do that. Or I could spend time with my family, spend time with my siblings, doing something fun. I could spend time outside. I could write letters, to people who are alone in the nursing homes, or living by themselves. I could spend time in prayer with God. We always talk about how insanely busy we are all the time. Now is the time to maybe reflect and do some of those things that we never made time for before. So if you open yourself up to allow God to work in your suffering, God can and will do something beautiful with it. Then when it's over, you can look back and think, wow, that was a really tough situation. But look what God did. He took something ugly and made it beautiful. He took something ugly and made it beautiful. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is forgiveness. And this is another way that we can take something ugly, like something terrible that someone has done to us, or something that we've done, take something ugly, like sin, and make it beautiful. Forgiveness. Sin, without forgiveness, is death without eternal life. Sin without forgiveness is death without eternal life. So we're going to watch a video with Father Mike Schmitz, and he's going to be talking to us about forgiveness.